Welcome back, children. It is time for 2.3 multiplying and dividing with our solving inequalities. Again, it'll be a lot of the same stuff with our solving equations, but now we're doing them with inequalities. However, there will be one little difference here today that we'll get to in just a moment. For now, let's just do kind of the basic ones. 2x is greater than 8. So I'm trying to undo that multiplication. If it's 2 times x, I want to divide by 2. I want to get that x all by itself. So I'm going to divide by 2. Everything I do to one side, I do to the other. And then x is greater than 4. And that's it. Now we're on to graphing our solution. And I use an open circle because it's not or equal to. And I want the numbers that are greater than 4, so that means to the right of 4. That's example 1. Example 2. So now x is being divided by 2. And put my little line there. So I'm going to undo what's being done. I'm going to multiply by that 2 because it is being divided by 2. I want to do the inverse operation. So by doing that, that gets me down to 1x, and then 2 times 6 is 12. And so now I put my 0 and put my 12. And I'm going to put, let's see, open or close circle here. Close circle, right? Close circle on the 12. And then I got to decide, do I want the x's that are larger or smaller than 12? Well, let's look. The x has the point to it, so that means the x is smaller than 12. So that means I want to go to the left of my 12. There we go. Example, that is example 2. Are you ready? Are you ready for the one tricky thing here? Here we go. Let's start with this. 3 is greater than 2. You might be thinking, Mr. Nimmons, that is not tricky at all. 3 is greater than 2. I know that. Everybody knows that. However, what if we did this? So something I can do to both sides of an equation or an inequality is multiply it by the same number, right? That's something we did just on the last problem. Look, we multiplied both sides by 2 right there. So we're going to do the same thing here, only this time I'm going to multiply it by negative 1. I'm going to multiply this left side by negative 1 and the right side by negative 1. And I get negative 3. We'll leave the sign the same as negative 2. There we go. What do you guys think about that? Negative 3 is greater than negative 2. Now hold the phone a second. That's not right, is it? If I look at a number line, I've got 0 here, negative 2 here, negative 3 there. Sorry, it's not really to scale, but I can see that negative 2 is further to the right than negative 3. It's greater than negative 3, but here it says it's less than. So this was true before, but then whenever we changed everything to opposites, this changed. And here's the reason why, is when you're dealing with positive world, the bigger number is the bigger number. But when you switch it to the negative world, the bigger number is the smaller number, or the bigger number is the lesser number. So that's why, here's the big rule, here's the takeaway. I'm going to write this down even. You probably should also. Are you still writing in a spiral notebook? You should be. If you're not writing in a spiral notebook, you're probably not going to retain it as well. We'll just say that. So when you multiply, you should be writing this down with me, or divide by a negative, you must we'll say flip the sign. You know what? I'm not going to say the sign. I'm going to say the inequality. Because sign, you might think positive or negative sign. So the inequality sign. So here's what that looks like in practice. I'm going to solve this equation. I'm going to divide both sides by -2. And when I do that, I get x by itself. I get -3 on the right, but I have to flip this sign. So it goes from a less than sign to a greater than sign. Just feel like you're grabbing it and twisting it around there and turning it the other way and saying, okay, now this guy's bigger and this guy's smaller. That's what you're doing. So that is really the one rule as far as solving goes. It's the one rule that's different with inequalities versus equations. Other than that, it's all the same rules. That is the one thing that's different. All right, so I'm going to put 0 and -3 and x, open circle there because it's just greater than, it's greater than, oh no. Greater than -3. Okay, let's do another one of those. All right, so I think I skipped too many. All right, so I want to get the x by itself. I've got to multiply both sides here because it's being divided. I'm going to multiply by -3. Multiply by -3. On the left side, -3 times 2. That gives me +6. And on the right side, that cancels there. I'm left with x. And did I multiply or divide by a negative? I sure did. I multiplied by -3, didn't I? So if that's a negative, I've got to change this inequality sign. Flip that sign around. And there we go. And I'm going to put my 0 and put my 6. And a closed circle because it's or equal to. Now I look at my x and I say, okay, is that x bigger or smaller? Well, it's got the little point to it, so it is smaller than the 6. So that means I'm going to shade to the left of the 6. Number 5. Let's see, we got to get that x by itself. Let's divide both sides by 2, divide by 2, x, and -3. Okay, do I flip the sign? I did this one on purpose. I'm trying to trick you. So the question is, do I flip the sign here? Did I multiply or divide by a negative? So I divided, right? What did I divide by? I divided by 2. Did I divide by a negative? No, 2's a positive number. I divided -6 by a positive number, but that doesn't count. It doesn't count what you're talking about before. It's saying what you're doing to both sides, is that a negative? Did you multiply or divide by a negative? No, you divided by 2, so you're not going to flip the sign here. So you got to know when to flip the sign and when not to flip the sign. So I got the x by itself, -3 and 0, and a closed circle on -3, shading to the left, less than or equal to -3. All right, believe one more example here. Okay, so now we've talked about this before. We've got a fraction with a negative on it. There's 3 placements you can have for that negative sign. You could make that where it is, -x/3. You could put it in front, -x/3. Or you can put it on bottom, x/3. Here's the thing, you're the boss of that negative sign. You step up and say, listen here, negative sign, you're going to go where I want you to go. You know, you guys are, 13 years old. You don't get to be the boss of very much. So when you get it, hey, take it, run with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to put that negative on the bottom. If you want to, you could have just, erased it and put it somewhere else. But I'm just to show you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it down there. And that way, when I undo that, when I multiply both sides by -3, I really can see that I'm getting rid of that -3. Because if I do just 3, I've still got a negative there. I'm going to have to do another step. It's no fun at all. I want less steps. So I can stop doing this math and go eat some moon pies or something, I don't know if kids eat moon pies anymore. Probably not. Should look up moon pies. They're delicious. I took one every day of my lunch for, years. My mom would shop it. It was a place called Smart and Final Iris. And it was like a Sam's, but we didn't have Sam's. Anyway, she'd get these big things of moon pies. They were so good. All right, so multiplied by a negative, you should have lights going off in your head because you need to flip that sign when you multiply by a negative, don't you? So we're going to go from greater than to less than. X is less than 18. So I'm going to put a 0 and an 18. Open circle on the 18 because it's not or equal to. It's not or equal to there. And then I look at my x and I say that x is smaller than 18, so I'm going to shade to the left. There we go. That's it. So, hope this all makes sense to you. Do your homework and do well and go enjoy yourself a moon pie. Talk to you later. Bye.